Hi, I'm Jim Cadillac, and today we're going to talk about the good, the bad, and ugly of tooling. Here on our cart, we have the three components of an HSK 63F tool holder system for a Komo machine: the tool holder body, the collet, and the collet nut. We also have a very dirty tool that we're going to be disassembling and cleaning to see if we could reuse it or if we need new components. Here we have two examples of the good and the ugly. We've already cracked the collet nut open on the ugly one, and as I begin to loosen it, I can feel some resistance. You shouldn't feel that. It should spin freely, as this one does, which has already been cleaned. The resistance inside tells me that it's really gunked up inside and really dirty. Wow, that's dirtier than I thought it was. Let's clean it up and see what we have. That tool was way dirtier than I expected. Fortunately, I think it can be saved. If you look at the collet, that little brown ring there can be scratched off with my fingernail. The normal cleaning method just couldn't get to this. At this point, some people might want to use something more abrasive, like Scotch-Brite or a wire brush. That's a big no-no. You want to keep the critical mating surfaces of the tool holder system with their factory finish. Using the Scotch-Brite will change that. The critical surfaces are this inner tapered cone, this outer tapered cone, this flat surface that mates with the spindle. On the collet nut, it's this tapered surface here, and on the collet, it's these two surfaces right here. Because we don't want to change those factory finishes, we're going to have to soak these tools to get them clean. While our dirty tool is soaking, we're going to review some of the common things you might see on a day-to-day basis with your tooling. We'll take a look and see if they can be used or you need new ones. Let's start with the tool holder bodies. This is actually a good one here. You can see it's got a nice surface here, still polished. This surface has a little bit of wear on it, but it's still very good. The tapered surface inside where the collet mates is nice and clean. And this is one that happens to have a rating of the balance on the tool itself, etched right in there. Komo recommends that all their tool holders are rated at a 2.5 G up to 24,000 RPM. This one has to be rated at 2.5 G up to 25,000 RPM, just a little bit better. The Komo routers need this balance. If you're thinking about buying cheaper tools that do not have this certification on them, you're going to end up spending that money on a new spindle because they will not be balanced and they'll cause a premature wear of your spindle. So make sure that they have that rating. This tool here, and as you can see, it has like a goldish brown kind of tint on the inside of the cone here. This is similar to the one we disassembled that's soaking right now. And from our experience, we think that this can probably be cleaned out. Okay, the rest of this tool here is good on the outside. Has some markings here, but nothing to be concerned about. Okay, so this one can be cleaned and we would reuse this tool. This one has similar markings on it. However, these are much darker. And they're darker because they're actually in the steel itself. This is pitted steel inside of that surface. And as this begins to propagate throughout the rest of that tapered cone, you will get further reduced holding power on your tools. They'll eventually start slipping out and breaking, maybe causing damage to your spindle. We also see some of that discoloration on the outside. This isn't too concerning just yet, but it could also lead to those same types of failures. So I would not use this tool again. This tool here also looks very good. It's clean, it's got a nice surface on the inside. Nice surfaces here. However, I'm guessing because of all of the dirt inside of that cone, that this tool is probably sitting around. Maybe you put it in your carousel, used it once or twice a month, and a lot of dirt and dust got inside there. Let's just see how much dirt's actually in there. Okay, so we want to get that cleaned out. Your spindle actually goes inside, and that's where everything gets gripped. So if that's an inconsistent surface there, your spindle's not going to hold onto it strong enough, and you could have issues as well. The last tool holder body, there's definitely something wrong with this tapered cone here. You can see all the lines on it. That's caused by vibration, whether the spindle wasn't gripping it right, whether we had an imbalanced tool in the end, whether all our components were dirty and it was reassembled. Something has gone drastically wrong with this tool holder, and we definitely do not want to use this one again. Next, we'll move on to the collets. Here you see two brand new ones. They have a nice smooth finish, clean, polished, and will work well. This one here is a well-used collet. It's at about the same shape as the one we disassembled earlier. You can see it's very dirty, but there's no pitting on the surfaces, just dirt. What's critical about this one is that there's lots of dirt packed in between all these spaces in the collet. If you don't clean that out, when you go to grip it with the collet nut, it will not grip the tool properly. One side might push the tool further one way or the other, making it non-concentric and leading to poor finishes, unbalanced tooling, and possibly damaging your spindle. So we definitely want to clean those out. Another important surface to keep in mind about the collet is inside where the tool goes. If you can't visually inspect it because it might be too small, take a tool and slide it in. If it slides in and out very smoothly, then the surface is probably good. If it happens to hit somewhere or you find any drag in there, then something inside is damaged and you need to clean it out or throw the collet out. One thing to point out is that if you take a dirty collet and a dirty tool holder, put them together, you can spin them and you don't hear any noise. It's because it's dirt on dirt, not metal on metal. If you do the same thing with a clean collet and a clean tool holder body, you'll hear a little squeak. That's the metal on metal, and that's what you want to hear. When you inspect this after you do something like that, if you see a ring in there, that is the only portion that's actually gripping your tool. You want that entire surface to be contacting this entire surface and gripping your tool properly. And that's the importance of keeping these things clean. Lastly, we'll inspect our collet nuts. When inspecting the collet nuts, we have to inspect the inside surfaces and the outside surfaces. When inspecting the inside surfaces, we want to make sure all of this area is clean of debris. That's where most of it will collect. We also want to make sure our threads are nice and clean, and we want to check this tapered surface as well. This tapered surface, it comes in contact with the collet nut and is the most important surface. If there's any dings, dents, or debris in here, it will inconsistently grab the collet nut and may push the tool off center and cause vibrations and spindle wear. With the outside, we want to check for dings and dents as well. Any steel that's out here that's not where it's supposed to be may also cause an inconsistent vibration. And lastly, we want to make sure there's no dirt and dust compacted in your wrench slots. This could also cause an imbalance. This collet nut here has been cleaned thoroughly, outside and the inside, and is ready for reassembly. Now that we've gone through the good, the bad, and the ugly of a tool holder system, let's take a look at the one that we cleaned earlier to see how it turned out. The collet nut cleaned up very well, and there's no damage to it. The inner tapered surface is clean, the threads are nice and clean. We'll continue to use this. The collet also cleaned up very well. The tool slides in very easily with no drag, and there's no dings or dents in this either. We'll continue to use that one. The tool holder body, however, is a little suspect. These surfaces are very clean, no dings or dents here, but the tapered surface here is a little dirtier than I'd like to see it. There's a lot of pitting in there, and there's some weird marks in here that I don't even know how they got there. And for that reason, I would not use this for higher RPM applications. If you were using it on a lower RPM application, 10 or 12,000 RPM, and a very low cutting force, like engraving or chamfering, I would continue to use this setup. However, if you're going to be plowing through particle board at 2,000 inches a minute at 24,000 RPM, I would buy a brand new tool holder, get a new collet, and a new collet nut for that application. Thanks for joining us today. Hopefully you've learned a few new tricks along the way and the importance of keeping your tooling clean. We'll see you on the next Komo clip. Thanks and have a great day.